Hello guys, it's Mashtech here. Anbernic has released another premium metal-framed retro gaming handheld. The RG351MP. Today we're gonna take a closer look to this device and find out what's really premium in this model. Beside a deeper look to its design and features, we'll check out some of the retro gaming systems it supports and compare it to the older models from Anbernic to find out whether it is worth an upgrade or not. Let's get started. The RG351MP is available in 3 different colors: a soft mint green, strong ocean blue and a classic matte black version. When you order your device from Anbernic, it comes with quite some extras. Beside the device itself, the box includes a USB-C to USB-A OTG adapter, a compatible Wi-Fi dongle, a USB-A to USB-C charging cable, the user manual, and something that kinda really surprised me, you also get a screen protector. Let's now take a closer look to the device itself. Anbernic definitely put their main focus to the screen with this model. Since many people appreciate the big 480p screen of the RG351D, Anbernic decided to use the same display for their new landscape handheld as well. With the display assembly, Anbernic used the OCA technology, which stands for Optically Clear Adhesive, to fit the protective glass cover to the display without a gap in between both layers. Like this, you can enjoy the full quality of the display without any loss of sharpness. Thanks to the high resolution of 640x480, console systems like the PS1, Sega Dreamcast and some ported games definitely benefit from the screen upgrade. But also all other systems now look a bit sharper and more colorized with the new display. The button layout hasn't changed to the previous models. Thanks to the stable metal housing, pressing the D-pad or action buttons feels more reliable. They have a very good haptical feedback that you can actually feel, and I really appreciated it while playing. Anbernic also kept the horizontal layout of the analog sticks, like most other landscape gaming handhelds do. They are installed low profile to the device to make it more pocket friendly. Their quality can be compared to the ones of the Nintendo Switch and can additionally be pressed and mapped as triggers. Let's flip the device over to the left hand side and take a look at the volume rocker. Unfortunately, the RG351MP comes with a digital volume control. I personally would have preferred a volume wheel here, since it allows you to change the volume much quicker and more precise. Still, the buttons have good pressure points, and so you do have a precise feedback when you change the volume, and the placement on the left hand side allows to access them easily. On the top side of the device you will find the 2 pairs of shoulder buttons. In my opinion, the placement is quite handy and the buttons can easily be accessed with your index fingers. The 2 USB-C ports both support OTG, so you can even connect a hub to them in order to make use of external controllers or the provided Wi-Fi adapter. The right side USB port allows you to charge the device. A full charge from 0 to 100% takes around 2 hours. After that, the 3500 mAh battery remains for about 6 hours of playtime. In the middle, we find the 3.5mm audio jack to connect headphones or external speakers. You definitely get the best gameplay experience using some headphones. Now let's take a closer look to the bottom side of the device. The first thing we find here are the outlets of the stereo speakers. The sound of the device is loud and clear, but as I said, for the best sound experience I recommend you to use your headphones. The next thing to mention here are the SD card slots. The left side microSD card stores the device's firmware. At the time I'm making this video, 2 custom firmwares, Retro Arena and ArcOS, basically got ported to the RG351MP, so we can soon expect better UIs and emulation performance for this device. Still, I recommend you to make a backup of the original card just in case. The second SD card slot is used to store the game ROMs on it. My device was delivered with a 64GB card, but you might want to exchange the card with a bigger one so you can store more games on it. Right in the middle we find the reset button. It is very low profile, even under the frame, to prevent it from an accidental press. You really need to press your finger hard on it or use your fingertips or nails to trigger a reset. On the right hand side of the device we have the power button to turn the device on. You need to press and hold the button for about 2 seconds to start it up. Finally, on the back side we have our rubber pads that give you some nice grip on the device so you can hold it comfortably even on longer playing sessions and sweaty fingers. With 265 grams, this is not a lightweight handheld and it might feel a little heavy in your hands on longer playing sessions. But now let's turn on the RG351MP and take a look at the user interface and over the pre-installed systems and games. On each startup, the device performs a self-test of the installed vibration motor. The rumble feature takes effect in many PlayStation titles and gives you a nice feedback to the game. Almost 29 seconds is a pretty long startup time and feels even longer if you just like to pick up the handheld for a quick game. The extra 64GB microSD card in the package comes with a big bunch of games for a total of 24 emulation systems. These include the handhelds and consoles from Nintendo and Sega, like the NES, Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advance or Sega Genesis, arcade systems like Capcom 1, 2 and 3, MAME and Final Burn Alpha, but also Open Bore and older systems like MSX or PC Engine, up to PlayStation 1, Nintendo 64, Sega Dreamcast and PlayStation Portable. But this is where the device comes to its limits, as I will show you later in some gameplay examples. Before that, let's take a quick look to the menu and see what features this device comes along with. If you already own a previous model of the RG351 series, you'll see that not much has changed here. Still, for those of you who are new to these handhelds, I want to point out some interesting features. Let's start with the networking, because this feature comes with some cool options for this device. Ensure to connect the Wi-Fi dongle with the USB-C to USB-A OTG adapter and plug the combination to your device. I recommend you using the left side USB-C connector, so the right side connector is still free for charging if required. Now you can enter the network settings menu and enable Wi-Fi. Choose your Wi-Fi network at the Wi-Fi SSID submenu and enter your Wi-Fi key after that. Now that you're connected to your Wi-Fi, you can make use of online features such as downloading new themes to give your device your preferred look and feel. Here's an example of the EmuELEC Carbon theme that I found my personal favorite for its beautiful design, additional system information and dark mode. Another great online feature is the option to add box art to your manually added games. But let me show you this feature in detail, since this really is a comfortable way to pimp the ROM collection on your device. I recently added a few N64 games to the external SD card. Therefore, I unplugged the external SD card, put it into a microSD card reader and plugged it back into my PC. There, you'll find a folder structure representing all supported emulation systems where you can add ROMs or remove ROMs as you like. In my case, I put the games into the N64 folder. Back on the device, the new games show up, but without any box art with them. To get this fixed, choose Scrape from the main menu and navigate all the way down to the Scrape Now button. Hit that button and choose the systems entry next. Here, you can first deselect all systems with a click on Select None down here. After that, you can choose the specific system you like to scrape for. In my case, that was Nintendo 64. Hit the B button to jump back and select Start to really start the scrape process. In the upper right corner you will see an update of this progress. As the scrape process is done, you can leave the scrape menu and enter the game settings. Here we need to update the game lists to advise Emulation Station to reload the box art images for the games. After that, you'll see the box art for your manually added games. And that's as easy as it is. But now let's check out some gameplay and see how the device performs on various emulation systems. All consoles and handheld systems up to the 4th generation like the SNES, Sega Genesis, Game Boy/Game Boy Color or Game Gear for example just run absolutely smooth on this device. Even demanding SNES titles like Star Fox are handled flawless. Games like Sonic the Hedgehog for example, that were made for consoles of these days, fit perfectly to the 4x3 screen for the RG351MP that is clear and colorful. For the same reasons I enjoyed playing one of my favorite games of this console era, Golden Axe. Same goes with arcade classics, as you can see here playing Altered Beast emulated by the Final Burn Alpha emulator, another system that benefits from the 4x3 aspect ratio. It's fun to play old classics like Contra for the NES. Keep in mind, with the online multiplayer option in RetroArch, you could even play these games with friends all over the world. As long as both sides use the same emulation core and same ROM, this can be done even independent on the host system, like between PC and a RG351 device. Let's take a look at a non-console but handheld system. Most of these were not designed for 4x3 ratios. Game Boy Advance games for example run in a 3x2 ratio but still look great on the RG351MP in my opinion. You can get yourself an impression by some Crash Bandicoot gameplay here. You get decent emulation power for systems up to PlayStation 1. 90% of all games for this particular system run absolutely fine. I've recognized no video glitches or sound stuttering here. The fun ends with the Sega Dreamcast. Most of the games stutter and you definitely hear sound interrupts depending on how demanding the current game scenario is. Games like Crazy Taxi 2 are playable, but the sound and video issues don't really make it fun to play. The situation is slightly better for N64 emulation. The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time plays absolutely fine for 90% of the game. The only problem you may face here is that you run out of mappable hardware buttons. Still, when you use the trigger buttons of the analog sticks, you get enough, but the chance of pressing them accidentally is kinda high and it's not very comfortable. The N64 comes to its limits running a demanding title like James Bond 007 GoldenEye. You can't navigate through the world without massive frame drops, so it's no fun to play this game. As last system, I like to show you some PSP gameplay by the example of Mega Man Maverick Hunter X. Since this is not a very demanding title, it runs absolutely fluid and is really fun to play on the RG351MP. If you like to know how God of War performs, I can give you the quick and sad answer: it's a slideshow. Even with some tweaks and frame skips, I was not able to get it run in an acceptable way. It's just no fun. The main reason why we're still stuck at this level of emulation is the fact that the RG351 series haven't received an update of their SoC for quite a long time now. With the last 4 devices, Inburnic came along with the RK3326 CPU, Mali G31 GPU and 1GB of RAM. To get the performance issue solved on N64, Sega Dreamcast or PSP emulation, a newer generation of SoC is required. I bet any Snapdragon CPU with a decent graphic processing unit could be a big game changer for this situation. I'm totally fine with the display and battery lifetime. There are no changes required here. So what have the cooks in Anbernic's kitchen done when they started working on the RG351MP? Well, basically they took the shell of a RG350M, added the internals of the RG351P into it and applied the screen of the RG351V. And tada! The RG351MP was born. And that's why you see so many parallels to their older models. If you compare the housing of a RG350M with the RG351MP, you'll see that they're almost the same, except a minor difference in the color tone and the loss of the HDMI out connector. Compared to the RG351M, the 351MP is a bit shorter, but also a bit higher. That's due to the different display sizes. In my opinion, the RG351MP feels a bit more compact like this and fits better to my hands. The volume control and power button have swapped positions, while the 351M lacks of a dedicated SD card slot for the system firmware. Let's come to my conclusion. The RG351MP really has a beautiful screen. The 3.5-inch IPS display with that 480p resolution just looks great for almost all retro game titles. Since most of the supported consoles come from times where the 4:3 screen ratio was dominated by those days TVs, they fit perfectly to the screen. The screen provides enough brightness even in a lighter environment to present strong and saturated colors. The premium, heavy and solid housing of the device gives you the feeling to really hold a high quality product in your hands. And indeed, compared to all other retro gaming handheld manufacturers, Anbernic's devices, either plastic or metal housed, are made best quality. But now let's talk about some downsides. No internal Wi-Fi. But why? Anbernic showed us with the RG351M that onboard Wi-Fi is a possible thing in a metal housed device like this. And due to the fact that the mainboard of the RG351MP doesn't have a spot prepared to install an internal Wi-Fi chip, takes me to the assumption that they actually never planned to provide it with this device. I mean, I appreciate that they add an external adapter and Wi-Fi module to the box, but still, what a bummer. Not just that the external Wi-Fi adapter totally disturbs the overall design of the device, no, you additionally have to carry the adapter and module with you in case you want to use it. Next thing is that there was no performance upgrade. After the RG351M and the RG351V, this is the third device from Anbernic this year that hasn't received a performance upgrade. All the devices, including the RG351P, still use the RK3326 chip that has its limits at demanding N64, Sega Dreamcast and PSP titles. Anbernic, if you're watching this video, I want to let you know that we as the retro gaming community are more than ready for the next generation chipset in your devices to get better emulation performance on 32-bit systems or even above, so we can start dreaming of PS2 or GameCube emulation next. Another thing is that this device came with no HDMI out. From a Pro model, I expect something really pro, like the HDMI out feature, for example, that even older models of the RG series provided. It's not the end of the world to not have it on a retro gaming handheld, but having the option in your hand to connect and play on a big size TV would just be a great option. If you're looking for a place to buy this handheld directly from Anbernic, take a look into the video description below. So now I'm interested in your opinion about this handheld. Did you get the feeling that this could be a good choice for you, or would you rather wait for a next generation model like the RG552? If you have any further questions about this device, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know with a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel for more videos like this. Have a great day. See you in my next video. Bye.